Transition Radio TV brought to you by the NOTSTR8. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender or cross-dressing needs. Visit their website at www.breastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
A show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
I love that song. Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio TV, live from Wilton Manors, Florida. Thank you all for joining in yet another night. Tonight we have an amazing guest, and I'm very thankful for my guests. I'm very thankful for the viewers, and I'm very thankful for Joe. Today on Transition Radio TV, my guest is Autumn Weisz. She was born in East Texas back in 1946. The offspring of a local member of a prestigious family and an Hungarian emigre. She quotes, "My mother, a Christian, was a musician and my father was Jewish. They met in post-war Chicago where my mother was a professional entertainer. Growing back in the 50s, there were no transgender role models. There was barely television and certainly no internet. I knew from the day that I was different than everybody else, but didn't know why. And what 6-year-old kid is going to compare notes with their friends, wondering if they felt the same way inside? I didn't think I was crazy, but for God's sake, I was 6. How did I know how people would feel? Looking back on the situation, though, at this point, I recall that most of my friends were girls, even though I was extremely athletic and in several team sports, excelling at Little League baseball and football. We had a segregated elementary school of sorts with boys on one side and girls on the other. I just felt more comfortable and closer to the girls than I did to the boys with whom I played sports with. I kept this pretty much under control while in school. I never really cross-dressed and didn't exactly date. As the years progressed, though, I became increasingly angry towards my situation and utterly despised my body. During my junior year in high school, I decided to go ahead and immerse myself fully into weight training just to get my mind off things as they were. And when football season began, the very next year, I was ready. I had bulked myself into a 238-pound middle linebacker who, when the season was all said and done, ended up as a third-team All-State selection in Texas. That speaks volumes. I could have gone practically anywhere in the county to play football. I chose instead to put an end to all the crap I endured for so long. The day I graduated and received my high school diploma, I went right down to my local United States Army recruiter and signed up for Vietnam. I had intentions of stopping a couple of bullets and coming home in a box. I just couldn't deal with all the confusion and frustration any longer. I'm stopping this narrative at this point. Obviously, God has an incredibly strange sense of humor, and I wasn't killed in Southeast Asia.
Do you believe in love at first sight? No.
Neither do I, and yet there it is. I'd just like to kiss you.
Oh.
I think for me it took so long to be able to love another person, such a long time to grow up and get rid of all my self-involvement and all my worrying whether or not I measured up.
It was one of those instant best friend things.
But at the time we were both straight men. What could you do with that?
We had our surgery on the same day.
We ended up holding hands in the recovery room.
And now this gorgeous creature is the love of my life. Oh, we were just telling your friend a little bit about the transsexual lifestyle.
Not what you're used to in church, huh?
My name's Bobby, and you all know me. I've been drinking for 19 years and running a comic book store for 20.
Do you think those two are gonna play nice? They've been in there for almost an hour.
It's Jackson. The man couldn't hurt a crippled, comatose baby.
Who would want to hurt a baby?
Yeah, but who'd want to watch a marathon of Lifetime movies? But you know, they still show those battered women defeat nefarious cheating husband flicks on rerun.
Yeah, Jackson said he always asks the new hires questions. I don't remember him asking me any.
He's just saying that so he can bust Zorba's balls.
Zeke.
What?
His name, it's Zeke.
Well, that's what I said.
Bobby? Are you really sure you should be driving the getaway car?
What exactly are you implying? Oh.
And now, welcome to the show, the incredibly talented Autumn Weisz.
Oh, God. It's old footage. Oh, my God. Hey, how are you?
Hey, hello. Thank you so much for being on our show. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's completely my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So how was it meeting the actress of Trans America, Felicity Huffman?
Well, let me just relate one short story to you. I have a very dear friend of mine who is ex-Navy, and he commutes several times a year to the Middle East for work over there. And a couple of years ago, he gave me a call and said, "Congratulations." And I said, "For what, Dennis?" He said, "Well, I saw Transamerica, and your Arabic is perfect. They've dubbed it in so many different languages." And I'm surprised that they would have shown a movie like that over, in Muslim countries, but they apparently did. So I know it's been dubbed into Spanish, it's been dubbed into French, it's been dubbed into Russian, it's been dubbed into Arabic, and I don't know what else.
Well, it's actually, they will stone homosexuals to death in countries like that, but transgender individuals are accepted, believe it or not, which, yeah, who knows, but it's a pleasure to having you on my show now. It used to be our show,
the pleasure is all mine. It really is. The pleasure is all mine completely.
Thank you, thank you.
No,
well,
thank you.
I know it's been hard for me to make friends growing up. Did you have close friends while growing up, or the fact that you felt different alienated you from others?
No, on the contrary. I've had astonishingly close friends. Matter of fact, I know some people. Let's see, I went to school with them from the time I was 5 years old, so I've known them for just about 62 years, and we're extraordinarily close. And when I go back to my hometown and we get together, it's like I've never even left. We still do the same goofy crap that we did back then, and it's, we're just like 2 or 3 peas in a pod,
I always found myself feeling like I was from another planet, and I don't know if it had anything to do with my gender dysphoria, or that I just, as I used to quote before, I felt I was from another planet. So I've often wondered if other trans individuals have felt that way, or if I'm just like loopy or something of that nature. But I did have 1 or 2 close friends, but I was not the most popular kid in school. I kept to myself, because I didn't feel like I belonged. So I often wonder, and I'd like to ask that to other transgender individuals if they felt that way, if they felt
Well,
almost
I,
like alienated.
well, I always felt like I was from a different planet too. But again, from what you read in my bio, you explained why. However, I had a lot of very close friends all through high school. Guys on the athletic team, and I was I was voted most talented when I was a senior. So I played in a lot of rock bands growing up, and just had a lot of talent with drama and things like that. So they just said, "Hey, let's give it to him." Say her,
Where
but I said him.
athletes usually get preference. As I remember when I was in high school, if you're an athlete, you're a prime, and and it
Absolutely,
can.
and now it's even gotten worse. But back in the '60s, it was the same way. It was the very
Yeah.
same way. Yep.
Yeah, you see it now with the football teams and the amount of money they get and the preference they get, and it's
Mhm.
like you get a teacher that barely gets paid, you got an athlete that gets all this money and all these privileges. So you kind of wonder what our world's
Yeah,
kind of balance we have.
that's really sort of sad, but that does happen. That does
Definitely,
happen. It's a shame that teachers make what they make, and 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 the coaches just rake in the big bucks, especially the successful coaches.
definitely. Well,
Mhm.
I find that many transgender females, in hopes to cure themselves of what they felt inside, immerse themselves in really manly activities, really masculine stuff. How did you feel being involved in these roles, which you hated just to fit in?
Well, for the longest time, again, as you mentioned earlier, I really didn't know. I just had a lot of natural athletic ability, and in elementary school especially, I played every conceivable sport, everything that I could do. And then when I came across that publication, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on, things really fell into place. But again, I just did what I was doing and what I was enjoying. And when you have, I have been incredibly blessed with so much. I have been incredibly blessed with a lot of talent and a lot of abilities, and especially athletic prowess. When I was younger, I was a real stud. And I hate to say that. I really do. Sort of embarrassing to say that at this point.
What I've noticed though is that I've seen a lot of trans individuals, especially male to female, that will join the forces, will get into kung fu or boxing or any kind of thing to almost like try to beat themselves out of the feeling of being feminine. And that doesn't mean that everybody's the same, because transgenderism has a major spectrum. It depends where you are in that
Mhm.
spectrum, how you feel. There are individuals that really didn't even feel that way till they reached middle adulthood.
Yep.
And there were
Yep.
some
Yep.
individuals felt like that when they were 3 or 4 years old.
Mhm.
So in your case, you were fine being that young stud athletic football player, and it was later on that you decided,
Miserable inside, and that's why I went to visit my local Army recruiter when I got out of high school.
it's funny enough, I also joined the Army when I was 17. And
Mhm.
I could blame Whoopi, was it, who was that woman who played Private Benjamin? I saw the movie,
On.
and I was like, yes, that's what I'll do. I'll join the Army. Yeah,
There you
great
go.
idea.
Yeah.
Crazy thing,
Uncle
yeah.
Sam wants you.
Uncle Sam. Well, tell
Yep.
us how it was like for you during your dating years, and how do you identify sexually today?
Well, again, as you indicated earlier, I really didn't quote unquote date. I had uh, a couple of female friends, especially, that we would hang around together. We would go out maybe to movies together. We would go to the drive-ins together, the little fast food places, the malt shops. Yeah, I'm that old. And it really wasn't a date, but but I guess to some people it would look like a date, but it really wasn't a date. Um, at this point in my life, obviously, since everything has been taken care of, uh, I consider myself heterosexual.
So you're attracted to men.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, yeah.
That's very good. Talking about high school and the malt shop and all that, it's like, and when I was in high school, it was back in 1979, but to me, it was like a different life altogether. It was so innocent, and we didn't have the little texting. We didn't have computers. We had fun by going to the movies, going to the drive-through, which or they don't have that. Not drive-through. How do you call those things that you would sit in your car and watch
The drive-in.
movies? Yeah, the drive-in.
Right.
They don't have.
Drive-in
I don't
movie.
think they have
Yeah.
that much
Yeah.
anymore.
We used, we,
And
used, we used to go to those all the time. All the time.
one of the
All the time.
movies that was very dear to me back in high school was Grease, and the 50s to me was such an amazing time because everything was so innocent.
Yeah.
Things weren't as fast paced. Now it's like we grow up so quickly, everything's fast, 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 everything's technology, and we fail to see the beauty of life in itself. And anyway, just reminiscing back in those high school years, which are,
Well, back in that time, chances are that the nuclear family stayed together. There was a mother and a father and the kids, and very few people that I knew only had one parent, and that's because either the father had died, or the family had the mother and father had divorced. But like 99% of the people I knew, they had a mother and father there in the home, and now that's sometimes it's a pretty rare animal to really see that nowadays.
you kind of wonder why that is. Is it the stress that both parents have to work to make ends meet, that mothers can't stay home and raise their kids the way that it should be? Everything has just been turned upside down dramatically in our world, and it's again the fast pace, the technology, everything's become more materialistic. Before, they had this little black and white TV, and everything wasn't about what's on TV. Everything wasn't about what's on the internet because it didn't exist.
I
So
remember
times
when
have changed, but I don't think for the better.
No, I recall when we got our first television. It was the little black and white with a very small screen, and I used to lay in front of the TV on the floor watching these, shows like the Lone Ranger serials and Commander Cody and all these goofy things. But it was a kinder, gentler, simpler time. Most indubitably it was. It was.
Definitely, definitely. Well, you are an actress. When did you start getting interest in the arts, and what has been your favorite role?
Well, I did my first play when I was 3. They were looking for a kid to sit in a chair and listen to a fairy tale with a local community theater. And I was a child, and I said, "I'm not deaf. I can sit in a chair." So they stuck me in there, and I did shows all through, plays all through junior high school and high school. However, this is really kind of weird. I was very serious student, and I was determined to go into pre-med, and most of the classes I took were science classes in high school, and my local family doctor was planning on having me, after I graduated, go into practice with him, and you know that sort of was wrapped up when I decided to, once I graduated, I wasn't going to go to college. I was going to come home in a pine box.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure glad you didn't come in a box and you continue doing what you're doing. There's
Yeah,
someone in the chat room that said, Adam, is it Autumn, right? I'm
it's
Cuban and
autumn,
I mess up everybody's name and I mess up
just
words and,
just like the season, just like the
yeah,
season.
Autumn. Okay.
Spring,
If
summer.
somebody says, I
Autumn.
loved you in Transamerica, so you got a fan, and that's guest number 9642.
You know,
Guys, you could sign in with your real name if you wanted to. I mean, you just go ahead
right
and put the name if you want to. You don't, no pressure whatsoever.
now, let me just say this. There's a little secret thing about that movie, a little blurb that you don't know. This was the scene that was allegedly taking place in Dallas, Texas. It was when they had driven through Kentucky, and then they went through Arkansas, and then they were in Dallas. They were going to this house party in Dallas. The Dallas house was actually in Neptune, New Jersey. Okay, that's
Hmm.
where it was shot. So it really wasn't Dallas. However, I
The
had
magic of camera.
having been basically from Dallas myself, sort of. I had the accent and still do, and decided to just play it up. It was campy, but it was fun, and I'm glad that people love this movie. It was just really special. It was really a special thing to do at a special time for me.
Well, here's another clip of you that we wanted to share with
Okay.
viewers.
You want to know what the problem is? The problem is MTV. MTV, Playboy magazine, and Madison fucking Avenue. Look, let me explain this to you. Girls with big tits have big asses. Girls with little tits have little asses. That's just the way it goes. You know, God doesn't fuck around. He's a fair guy. He gave the fatties these big, beautiful tits, and the skinnies little tiny niddlers. And if you got a problem with that, then talk to him, okay? But you know, all this preoccupation with beauty, it's a mockery. It's a sham. It's bullshit. It is. It's bullshit. You've got implants and collagen and teeth capped, fat sucked out, hair extended, noses fixed. Come on. These aren't real women, okay? These are beauty freaks, and they make all us normal women with our wrinkles and puckered boobs and cellulite seem somewhat inadequate. Well, I don't buy it. I don't. And most men actually think they have a chance in hell with one of these beauty freak women, that they don't give us real women anything even remotely resembling a commitment. I think it's pathetic. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to end up 80 years old just drooling in some nursing home somewhere. And then they're going to realize, oh, I need to go out and find myself a cheerleader. And that friend of yours, Paul, with his pictures of models all over his wall and his dog named Heidi Klum, please, he's obsessed. They're all obsessed. If they had 1 ounce of self-respect, of self-confidence, of self-worth, that realized that, as trite as this is going to sound, beauty truly is only skin deep. And you know what? If they ever did latch on to one of these beauty freak women, I guarantee you they'd get sick of her, because no matter how perfect the nipple, how supple that thigh, unless there's some other shit going on in the relationship besides physical, it's going to get old. And these guys as a gender, they better get a grip. Otherwise, the future of the entire human race is in jeopardy.
You know, it's so true. It's so true. It's
I love that. There was an actor acquaintance of mine that I never met. I don't know the gentleman. That was posted on YouTube maybe about a year ago, and he sent me an email and said, "Why aren't you in a sitcom?" And that's a good question. I don't know. I should be. I should be.
I think what's going to take place is, as more and more we trans individuals are out there, more and more chances we're going to get to play major roles and to do things, because we are very talented. I believe we're extremely talented, have a lot to say and a lot to offer. But it's funny, everything you said in that particular clip is so true. It's like people get all these things done to themselves. They fix their noses, they do all these things thinking that that's going to make them better or more attractive. And deep down inside, they're miserable, because if they were happy, they wouldn't be doing all these things to themselves. So without that self-love, how can they find love outside of themselves? It's not going to happen. And beauty fades, because no matter how many nip tucks you do, eventually it all sags. And trust me, I work in nursing homes, and no matter how many nip tucks they did, it's all sagging now. So, you know, we have to face and grow old gracefully, I believe. And to me, it's beautiful.
Let me make a confession. The only thing that I have had done, and this is, a lot of people say, oh, she's full of shit. The only thing I have had done, and I mean this sincerely, I had breast augmentation back in 2007, I think. Original nose, perfect nose, perfect nose. I mean, I've got great genes, you know, thanks to my mom and dad, but I haven't had anything done, and I would like to get, you know, some of the little sags and bags taken up, but I hate to age gracefully, but right now I can't afford to do anything, so I'm sort of stuck.
The thing is, everybody starts looking the same. If you look at Jones River, if you look at Michael Jackson, may God have him in a special place. I mean, everybody starts looking the same, because it's like the same pulling up here, the same little nose, the same. Is like, do you want to be an individual, or do you want to be a clone? And it's
That's true.
I mean,
Well,
everyone are entitled to do what they want, and I'm not judging anyone, but to find love or to be happy with self, it doesn't come from the external, it comes from the internal.
that's true.
And you see a lot
Plus,
of these people do all these procedures and they eat crappy, and they don't take care of themselves, they don't exercise. Well, you have to take care of yourself from the inside
yeah.
out. And that's how your skin's gonna glow if you drink plenty of water, if you eat
Yep.
healthy. And I know Joe is probably going, oh, here we go. He's doing a sermon again about healthy eating and all that stuff. But, it's beauty, it lies within, I
Well, now
believe.
wait a minute. Let's discuss healthy eating. First of all, let me say I drink probably a gallon of spring water a day. I eat a lot. I probably go through a jar of jalapeno peppers a week. But I am ecstatic that the Hostess Twinkies are back on the market now. Let's put it that way. Let's just let it go with that.
Yeah, it's I guess because I had an eating disorder growing up, and I don't know if it had anything to do with my gender dysphoria, but I was always overweight, and my mother would always point that out every time we went into a fitting room, and I wouldn't fit into the particular clothing that she wanted me to fit in. So that kind of like really messed with my mind, and I went through a lot of bulimia when I was growing up, and thankfully, I healed myself of that. And now what I've learned is diets don't work. It's all about changing the way you eat and changing your lifestyle. And, it's balance. I mean, hey, I drink my wine. Here I am. I drink my wine and I'll
Well,
have a few cheat meals here and there because, you have to balance yourself. If it's everything good all the time and the body doesn't react the way it should, you could get sick. So it's a balance. And the key is to really listen to your body, love yourself, and that's the key. And be happy. Happiness
well,
is the key.
I've started to be, a lot more health conscious lately, and uh, I've gotten on the the wine thing too because it's good for you, especially the reds. But I tell you what, when I go out to have karaoke, if I don't have two or three beers, and it's just not a good night.
I hear you. I hear you. It's all good.
Yeah,
There are definitely many more role models now than ever
yeah.
before for trans
Oh,
individuals. Who was your role model and why?
God, I don't know if I have a role model or not. That is a difficult question, and I've never really thought of it. I just, I just aspire to be the best I can be. I aspire. Okay, I knew we'd get into religion sooner or later. I just try to be the best Christian I can be. I try to do things for people who are less fortunate than I am. I mean, I've stopped and given homeless people sandwiches from McDonald's and money to get stuff, and then I tell them, if I give you this money, I don't want you to piss it away, okay? And they go, oh, I stopped doing drugs. But I just like to do things for people. It gives me such a great feeling inside. And if I do have a role model, and this is going to sound really just crazy, people are going to go, oh no, she's one of those. It's Jesus Christ. I mean, he did so many things for so many people, and I just try to give to people that I see and people that I run into, people that I know, the best of me, whatever it takes, whether it's financial, whether it's just a kind word to somebody, just a smile, uh, a chat if people need it. I just try to make myself accessible, and if I have a role model, then that's going to be it. You know.
And definitely, he stood for a lot of great things. I'm not religious by all means. I'm very spiritual, agnostic, if you want to label it something. I believe there was a great man that walked this earth many years ago, and his words were misconstrued, and all these religious beliefs have been created. There's one God, but we have all these religion. I believe that if we all tap into our light, our inner good, and do things for one another unconditionally with pure love, then this world will be a better place.
Certainly.
We do have individuals that I don't know if there was anybody in your time. Christine Jurgensen was it, or there was a few forerunners that really put themselves out there when being transgender was like not even heard of. And I, for one, I know Jameson's Green was one of them, and I think he was probably one of the only one when I first started doing research regarding this, and I'm like, oh my God, I could look like that. And because it's like, it was never heard of. Nowadays, you go on YouTube and you have it's like a list a mile long of different individuals that are transgender. And the young trans community now could actually follow these individuals on YouTube and get guidance and really feel good about what they're doing, not feeling so alone as we did, and most of all, as you did back in the day. It was scary.
You just, you mentioned Christine Jorgensen. That was the big turning point in my life because my aunt was an avid reader, and she had millions of paperback books all over the house. And I would spend a lot of time with my aunt and uncle. They were just crazy about me, and I would just, when they were napping or something, I would just, look through her books and see if there was anything that interested me. And one day I did come across the Christine Jorgensen story, and I read that, and a light went on, and I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? This is what's going on with me. This is exactly what's happening with me." And that from that day on, I knew what the situation was, and it was just a great relief to know what the situation was with me. But then again, it led to some other issues too that I really started to really hate who I was as I got older.
Yeah, it's like that aha moment that we first get when we see someone that's like, oh my God. With me, it was back in Key West when somebody asked me, because I was heavy into bodybuilding and I took steroids to get big, and I was looking for something to make me feel comfortable in my own skin. And when I went to Key West and somebody pointed out, I was staying in an all-girls resort called Pearl's House or something near that nature. And they said, "Are you an FTM?" And I looked at them, I'm like, "What's that, an FTM?" And they kind of explained to me a little bit. So when I went back home and I started doing research and I started seeing, oh my God, and here I am. This was back in 2008? No, actually 2003. And I knew that people had sex change, but I didn't know of the culture. I didn't know exactly the whole logistic behind it. Yeah. I started to cry when I started seeing these men that used to be women and they actually transition. I was like, oh my God, this is how I felt all my life. And it was like one of those, the skies just opened up and everything was just like, wow. Yeah. And I knew right away that I had to do something. This happened in August of 2003. I had my surgeries, hysterectomy, mastectomy in 2003 of December. Wow. So it was just like, boom, real quick.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, here's a trailer of Trans America. For those that have not watched the movie or have forgotten it, I thought it was an incredible movie. I enjoyed it very much, and here it is.
Roll it.
Bree was ready to change her looks.
Medical procedures to date.
The usual electrolysis, 3 years of hormone therapy, and a facial feminization surgery.
And ready to change her life.
After my operation, I will be a woman.
But the one thing no one can change is the past.
I got a phone call last night. It claimed to be Stanley's son.
No third person.
My son.
Me, Toby Wilkins. Jesus the Reformer? That's one of these churches that sends missionaries out.
No. I'm from the Church of the Potential Father.
Thank you for bailing me out.
Well, got a flight to Los Angeles first thing in the morning.
Maybe I'll see you out there. Free ride, free food, free motel rooms.
I promised to take him to Los Angeles.
Dude, this is great.
I wish you would stop calling me dude. Eat your vegetables. You might want to use a fork. Just an idea.
The Weinstein Company and IFC Films present.
Get in here before the neighbors see you.
Thought you said your parents were dead.
Wishful thinking.
Your mother and I both love you.
But we don't respect you.
A story of two people and the one secret that has kept them apart for 17 years.
She is not my mother. She's not even a real woman.
Just because a person doesn't go around blabbing her entire biological history doesn't make her a liar.
Hey, look.
You boys go ahead.
Come on.
Hey, babe, let's stay out tonight. Toby.
Are you a boy or a girl?
I can't handle this.
Felicity Huffman.
There's things about her she's not telling you.
Every woman has a right to a little mystery.
Trans America.
It's mezcal. I'll put hair on your chest.
I hope not.
That was such a funny movie. I loved it. I really enjoy every bit of it. It was just like, I think it was like one of the first trans movies they put out there. So it's like Boys Don't Cry in that particular movie kind of makes you feel good because you could relate to the character in the movie. And it was like amazing. It was funny. And I loved the ending when the son and her finally really connected because it was such a struggle in the beginning.
And
some of
Felicity,
the chatters here have a little comment. Someone said, some of us just don't have the money to eat the way we should. And then someone said, I wish there were more people like you in the world. And another one said, my aha moment was when I heard about RuPaul and read up on her or / him. So I'm just sharing what the chatters. There's a chat room and chatters are chatting away.
You know, I think it's really kind of cool that people are, you know, chatting as we're doing this. I think that's really cool. And I just want to thank them. Thank you for just taking the time. Just, have anything to say, please.
They're also asking, is there going to be a second Trans America? I think there should be.
Oh, I wish they would have like a reunion. I really do. This is such a landmark film, and just, you know, I really wish they would have like a sequel or something, because it would be great to work with the same folks again, if possible. Everybody was great. Felicity Huffman was one of the most incredible people. She sat next to me the evening before we actually started filming, and she was picking my brain about every conceivable aspect of this. And Kevin Zegers is just delightful, and I just went blank on the woman's name. Fanula Flanagan, who played the mother, was very, very sweet. But Felicity was just so nice. And the evening of the movie premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City. And after it was over, we went to this special VIP party at some happening club in the city. And I went to say my goodbyes to Felicity. And she said, oh, wait a minute, you have to meet my mother and my sisters. And it was so sweet of her to do that, because most people in this industry just, you know, they're not that friendly, they're not that open. But she was really, really nice and just insisted that I meet her family before I left. And I thought that was really a sweet gesture on her part.
Definitely. And Felicity Huffman really did a great role. I mean, she played it beautifully, although many people feel that role should have probably been given to a transgender individual. But, you know, how did you feel as an actress being trans and not being given roles you feel you deserve? And what do you think of Felicity Huffman landing the role in Trans America instead of a real trans woman?
Well, I think the roles I deserve, the roles that I feel I deserve at this point, actually, I'm a pretty definitive character actress. I played everything. I did my first horror film a few months ago. So I played a demon. I played a homeless bag lady. I played a lesbian photographer. I played a male to female transsexual. I played a high school literature teacher. Most of the roles, though, that I auditioned for when I go to New York City are mainstream roles. Only once or twice have I seen any casting notices for any trans people. So I just show up and do whatever I do, and if they like me and they want me to do the role, then that's fine. If I don't make the audition for whatever reason, they don't know. They don't know, who I am or anything about me. They just know that I can either cut it, I can do the part that they want, or I'm not right for it.
So what do you think about Felicity Huffman landing the role? Do you think that should have been given to a transgender woman playing the role of a transgender woman?
Looking back on it, I sort of have mixed emotions in that respect. You can't deny that she did a phenomenal job. She did so much groundwork. She went through so much material. She talked to so very many people. And I think what she did was incredibly commendable. I don't think it was a slap not to have a trans individual playing that part. Actually, I think it was better for the movie because she was a named talent, and that just added a lot. Oh, I want to go see Felicity's movie. Felicity and Bill. Gee, let's go see what they've done. And I think had it been an unknown trans individual, it just might not have been as popular as it was.
I guess that holds truth in a way, but a lot of the trans movies that we've seen, there has been no trans actors or actress playing the role. From Boys Don't Cry, the story of Gwen. Um, there's just hasn't really been any transgender actors or actresses playing the roles, and I hope that changes in the future. I think that as we trans individuals are more visible and people start to understand that we're not freaks, that we're not this demon thing that people make us out to be, they'll realize how talented we are and that we are capable of playing roles as such. I know that I was in a movie called Bella Motto, which was directed and produced by a transgender female who wanted to bring an all transgender cast together, and so they could play roles that weren't the typical prostitute or things that we're usually cast as. And it was a short film. It was a very short film, and I played the role of a cop, Marco the cop, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I loved acting. I took acting in high school for 4 years, and I love to create. I love the arts. I love music, and I see that a lot of transgender individuals have that art flair about them. It's almost in our nature. I think there's very few, if any, trans individual that doesn't either play an instrument, they're poetic, artistic, they draw, they act, they do something, and that's what I see. What do you think about that? Do you feel the same way, or?
Yeah, I think as a rule, well, let's back up even one step further and go with gay folks. I have a lot of friends back in Texas that are just incredibly talented individuals. They do poetry, and they're incredible actors, and they're great musicians, and this and that. But it is true. I don't know any trans individuals that are not talented in any art, who are not talented in any aspect of the arts. They're either dancers, or they may be directors, or they may be producers, and they may be artists. Anything, but that's a very true statement. However, let me say this: I've been working on a screenplay for a number of years, and I wish to hell I could finish the damn thing. There is a specific part written for me, and of course, it is a trans woman, and I'm just hoping I can finish it, because then, if I can sell it, that's one of the stipulations, is that I play this particular part. So that would be a trans person playing a trans person. So I'm hoping I can wrap it up. Yeah.
The one of the chatters says, "I'm mechanically inclined, not artistic." Well, mechanically inclined, any kind of way where you use your hands, where you show expression of self, creativity of some sort. And it's true. It's not just the trans individuals. And I've mentioned this many times before. I believe we're rainbow warriors, the LGBTQIA, the whole alphabet, that we're extremely talented, extremely in touch with our inner light. And I believe that if we run away from the hurt that we feel from the time that we're little and we're being judged, and we allow ourselves to be true to ourselves, we could shine a lot more, because there are an extremely amount of talented gay men, extremely amount of talented gay or lesbian women, gender queer. I mean, it's just, there is just such a beautiful, beautiful aura about us and all these rainbow warriors, that if society would stop picking on us and really allowing us to shine, I believe this world would be a better place.
As do I.
Truly.
As do I.
So let's hope things change. Well, the next question you kind of touched upon. I asked you if to tell us about your aunt and your first experience the day you came across Christine Jurgensen's story, and you kind of touched on that.
Weird.
What did you feel when you first saw that? What was your reaction? Because obviously prior to that, you probably never even remotely saw
No, no, no,
anything
no,
like
no.
that.
There was just nothing. There was nothing about transgender, transsexual. There was nothing, in any of the media. I mean, every film was black and white, obviously, at that point. Uh, it was just, it was like the secrets of the universe had been revealed to me in this cheesy paperback that went on to be an even cheesier movie if you've seen it. But I I just identified with everything that George was feeling, every every emotion, everything that's in the book. If you get a chance to read the book because it's really great. But it was just like, a light went on, and it's like, good God, I cannot believe that I have finally found out what's going on with me. I just thought, like you said earlier, I just thought I was from another planet. And you couldn't talk to your friends at the time, like, by the way, do you feel the same way I do? Do you feel, because they probably thought I was just crazy anyway. Uh,
Yeah,
so
I hear
it
that.
just like I said, it was just like a light went on and illuminated everything that was happening with me.
Explain to me this quote. God has an incredibly strange sense of humor, and I wasn't killed in Southeast Asia.
Well, like I said, as soon as I graduated, I went down and signed up with my Army recruiter, and everybody was going to Vietnam at that point in time. And I knew I could go to Vietnam, and I could stop a couple of bullets, and I could come home, and I could stop hurting. I could stop despising myself. I could stop hating what I actually was and what nobody knew that I was. And went through basic training. I was just gung ho, and I was just ready to just get on the front line and do what I was fucking supposed to do, with with Charlie over there in Southeast Asia. However, like I said, God has a very unique sense of humor in as much as He'll give people little trials along the way to see how they handle it. Now, there's such a thing as free will. Certainly, there is free will, and people can do what they want to do. But if God wants you to go in a certain direction, you don't have to be a Christian. You can be an agnostic. You can be an atheist, whatever. If He wants you to go in a certain direction and do certain things, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And you may think, oh, no, I'm going to do this. It's really funny. And God laughs when you say, I'm going to go to business school, and I'm going to get my MBA, and I'm going to run a great 500, Fortune 500 company, and I'm going to be a success. And God really, really gets a big chuckle out of that, because He's going to take you in whatever direction He wants to take you. But anyway, so I arrived in Saigon, and there was just a little mix-up. Actually, it was a mix-up in some paperwork, and I didn't get to go to the front lines right away. I was sent to run a warehouse in Saigon, playing cards and smoking a little dope along the way. So for 18 months, I was doing such a splendid job there at the warehouse, and my superiors didn't want to lose me, and they didn't want to send me to the front lines. And occasionally, there would be a few shots that would come into the city, and when you're like 6 feet tall, taller than everybody else, you're going to get hit. But they were just, really lousy shots, and God just protected me and put me in an atmosphere that I got to think. And I said, if you get me home safe, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to be the very, very best that I can be. I may have problems along the way. It may be really difficult. I may lose friends, which I did. I may lose family members, which I certainly did. But, I have to be true to myself. And I think He wanted me just to experience this, and that's what I did. When I got back, I just ran with it. I didn't have any other options.
It's all a journey, that old saying, make plans, God's laugh, and it's true, but
It is.
and people want to make God to be this dude with this long beard pointing down at us and I'll strike you down, but it's a journey. We are actors in a play, and this is a huge play, and we learn. We are spirits having a human experience, and every action that we take leads to a reaction, and every reaction leads to learning, and that's what it's all about.
And you also learn from other people too.
That's it.
I,
And
I
that's
learn
it.
from
That's
other
what
people.
relationships are for, and that's why it's just growth and to become better spirits, and that's about it. I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh no,
You've been an
I just
amazing
have to thank
guest,
you. This has
and
just been fantastic. Thank you so much.
thank you. I've definitely enjoyed you tremendously, and I'm sure the viewers have too.
Thank you. I hope
And
so.
the show will be on demand in a few days, and I will send you the link so you can see your beautiful self and get to enjoy it as well. Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You
God
too.
bless everybody.
Take care. I want to mention a little something here. Know Your Trans Right by Lambda Legal. Carrying identification that reflects your genuine real-world self is basic, whether you're transgender or not. That is what IDs are for. So imagine if every time you try to travel, open a bank account, or start a new job, someone harassed you about your ID. Is it fake? Are you pretending to be someone you're not? When a transgender person ID is called into question, whether on suspicion of lying or out of an inappropriate interest in finding out whether they've had sex reassignment surgery, it amounts to harassment and discrimination, and in many cases reveals their transgender status, which is private information. 40% of National Transgender Discrimination Survey participants who presented ID that didn't match their gender presentation were harassed. 15% were asked to leave an establishment, and 3% were assaulted. Many agencies responsible for changing documents, such as birth certificates or driver licenses, still require proof of sexual reassignment surgery. But there is no set formula for transitioning. The standard of care established by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health states that for some, transition involves simply living in accordance with your gender identity, while for others, there may be medical interventions required, such as hormone therapy or SRS. All this needs to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. These facts are beginning to influence ID policy. WPATH urged in 2010 that governments and other bodies should move to eliminate requirements for identity recognition that require surgical procedures. Indeed, for U.S. federal agencies recently enacted policies that are more in sync with the realities of transition, and several states are modernizing their birth certificate and driver license policies. In addition, in March 2012, a federal court in Alaska became the first to rule that the absence of a procedure to change a person's gender marker on a driver's license to match one's life, gender expression, or identity infringes on a person's constitutional right to privacy because it threatens the disclosure of personal medical information. The court ordered the Alaska Division of Motor Vehicles to come up with a new policy that allows for gender marker change, among other key legal efforts to get IDs to reflect lived gender. Is a lawsuit filed in 2011 by the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund. The charges, New York City's birth certificate, SRS, requirement with being arbitrary and discriminatory. Patterns, signs of things to come. We hide, we lie, we create inner turmoil till we find peace within. As we change, as we morph into who we were meant to be, that God-forsaken day. Laugh all you want while we cry, in pain, for we know we were supposed to be born this way. And here is the transition video of the week with Brooke Sullivan.
Infinity's my remedy, so I sit back, relax, just hit that melody. Are you feeling me? Infinity's my remedy, so I sit back, relax, just hit that melody. just hit that melody. Are you feeling me? Deep in the lane where the changes pivot. Or been playing by the rules, but this game is unwinnable. Sent mixed signals, they so subliminal. Hypnotized like Big Sad, I'm at that pinnacle. The thing about life, there is no fairness. Went from apathetic to just being careless. Now I'm at this party with that hotel heiress. Double baguette when I spend the night in Paris. Watch reality rerun past me. Taught to question, but nobody's asking. Life is fleeting, but I'm everlasting. I'll keep hitting it like Kobe, not passing. Ha! Many messages with meanings underlying. Big brother be aggressive with the bullshit they supplying. Put them on the stand all day, they denying. Ain't convinced yet, but homie, they trying. Infinity's my remedy, so I sit back, relax, just hit that melody. Are you feeling me? Infinity's my remedy, so I sit back, relax, just hit that melody. Are you feeling me? Infinity's my remedy, so I'd sit back, relax, and just hit that melody. Are you feeling me? Lying awake, tense, type of subconscious. Replaying the statements, it's time to be honest. The way to greatness, gotta know where the wrong is. Just make the right changes, don't act astonished. That's infinity, unlimited opportunity. You get out of clarity when you give into humility. Wondering how I do it so beautifully. Rising like the sun under constant scrutiny. Alarms going off, time to make moves. Last man standing is gonna be the one to lose. Go and dream of that when you decide to hit the snooze. Time's flying fast, so be high when you choose. Infinity's my remedy, so I sit back, relax, just hit that melody.
That was another great transformation. Remember, guys, send me your transition video so I can play it on the show to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, that's transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Looking forward to watching your beautiful transformation. Tuesday, we have Nick and Bianca. They're a transgender couple. They've been on a show like Ricky Lakes. Nick has been carrying, he's actually carrying his second child now, and they're a beautiful transgender couple, and I will have them on the radio show. And on Thursday, I'm going to have Mark, what is his last name? He's the maker and the producer of Transgender, the movie, and I'm looking forward to that show tremendously. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Thank everyone on chat. Thank you, Adam, for a beautiful interview. Love you, Joe. Love everybody. But remember to always love yourselves too. Good night.